Hi everybody, I'm Kim. Welcome to the Regretful Yarn Addict. Today is a Regretful Yarn Addict tutorial. I will be showing you how I make these, my sneks. So I have this little one, and then I've made this little one. My little rattlesnakes. Here's one. He's a little bigger. And a small rattlesnake. And then I have this little critter. I've also made this one, my favorite. But this is the one I will be showing you how to make today. Oh, he's got a dirty nose. He has to clean his nose. Okay, this one is using brunette blanket yarn. This one was used making blanket yarn. And these littler ones were made using just chenille. Now in the video, I do tell you that you can use 2 strands of worsted weight yarn held together. I don't think I said held together, I just said two strands, but you hold them together. And you can use whatever size eyeballs you like. What I don't mention in the tutorial is you can make your heads different depending on how, let's see, how you start it. Like this one, see the shape of it? I think that one is just like the one I show you. So this is just like that one. But this one, I think, this one I started out with 6, but I think I only went up to 12. I mean, no, wait, 1, 2. Oh, I did 1 row of 6 and then I just did 12 and then I went up to 18 and back down to 12. You'll know what I'm talking about once you watch the video. This one was the same. One of them I started with 12. Might be this one. Instead of starting with 6, I started with 12, and then I just did like 3 rows of 12, and then I went up to 18 and then back down to 12. So it's more of a snub-nosed snake. But like this one, if you'll notice, has more of like a python head. That one I did more rows of 6. And then I think I did the 2 12, went up to 18 and back down to 12. So, I mean, you can experiment with your heads. You can make the nose longer, make it shorter, anything. It's just the general idea. This is just the basic snake is what I'm showing you. And it really bugs me that his nose is dirty. He was playing in the dirt. But just like that. You can also, if you don't want your snake's tail to taper, you don't have to taper it as much or at all if you just want a flat-ended snake. So that's that. Let's get to the tutorial now. Thanks for watching. What you're going to need to make your snek is some yarn. I'm using brunette blanket yarn. This is in the color Clay Brick. It's a number 6, bulky. You can use any yarn that you're comfortable using. Just make sure that your hook is at least one size smaller than what it's calling for. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull some of this yarn out right now. So I've got Bernette blanket yarn. I'm going to be using a 6 millimeter, let's see, 6 millimeter J10. You're going to need some stuffing, some eyeballs. I'm using these gold sparkle eyeballs. I think I got them from Temu. They're a 10 millimeter. You're going to need look at that, upside down ring, darning needle, and I'm going to use 1 stitch marker. Like I said, you can use any yarn you'd like. I've used Just Chenille from the Dollar Tree. I've used 2 strands of worsted weight yarn. I think for the chenille I used a 4 millimeter, and for the 2 strands of worsted weight, probably a 5 millimeter. But use whatever feels comfortable, just as long as you're getting a nice tight stitch. So let's get started on this snek. I'm going to start with a magic circle. You can start any way you'd like. If you don't like the magic circle, you can use 3 or 4 chains, slip stitch the first one, and put all your stitches in the middle. You can make your magic circle however way you're happy doing. This is how I do mine. Very simple. It's like making a slip stitch, except I don't close it. So I've just got that. Chain 1 to lock it in place. And now we're going to do 6 single crochets. And because we're going to be doing this continually, I'm going to put a stitch marker right there and make 5 more. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then when you get your 6 in there, you just pull that nice and tight. Make sure your tail is in the center. Okay, now let's see if I can find my stitches. I can find that one. Kind of do that. Pull that in there tight. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So let's tuck that middle. God, I wasn't even paying attention. I hope you saw that. Make sure you tuck that in so that you're starting to come up. Now we are going to do 2 in every stitch. We're going to do increase up to 12. So there's 1. And we're doing an increase, so let's put another one right back in there. 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we've done 2 rows with 6, and we're going to do 2 rows with 12. So that was our first round with 12. So let's go right back in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you see we've got our snek head started. So there's 2 rounds of 12. Now we're going to do an increase round again. Let me pull some more yarn out. We're going to go up to 18 single stitches. So in our first one, we're going to put 1, and in the next one, 2. So that's 3, 4, and the next one will be 5 and 6. Next stitch, 7. And then we're going to put 8 and 9 in the next one. 10. And then we'll do 11 and 12. 13. 14 and 15 in the next one. 16. And then the last one will be 17 and 18. So now you see he's getting a little wider. Now we're going to do 1 round of 18. So there's 1. I won't count this time so that you guys can not get confused by it. Okay, so now we've just done 2 rows of 18. If you notice, when I do mine, I go over instead of under. It makes your stitches a lot tighter when you're doing amigurumi. Okay, so we've done our 2 rows of 18. Now we're going to go down to 12. So we're going to go 1, put the stitch marker back in. Now you can do a invisible decrease if you want, but with this yarn, it's not always easy. So you do a decrease, that's putting 2 together. So that was 2, 3, go in, that one. So you're bringing up 3 loops, and this one is just a regular. And then the decrease, you go into the next stitch and into the next stitch, draw up loops in each one, go through all 3. It's a regular. Here's another decrease and a regular and a decrease and a regular and your last decrease. Now you're down to 12. I'm going to go ahead and stuff my tail down in there, get it out of the way. Now I'm going to do one more round of 12. Pop my stitch marker back in. Okay. Now I'm going to pull my loop nice and long. Pop a stitch marker in there for good measure. And we have our head. Now it's time to pop the eyeballs in. Now, this is going to be the bottom. That's the bottom of our snek. Kind of keep that flat. And then you see where it widens out? Anywhere in there, pop one eyeball on one side and one eyeball on the other, and just kind of eyeball it to make sure that they're straight and where you want them. And I'm going to go ahead pop my washers on. Okay. These washers don't click like normal, so it's like, okay, eyeballs are in. Now I'm going to do one more round before I stuff my head. take some stuffing. The head is the only part you want to really stuff. So let's pop some of that in there. I take it and I stuff it all the way down to the nose. Make sure it's in there really, really good. It's easier if you just put a little in at a time. So I'm going to make sure it's in. I'm going to make sure most of it is at the top. Okay, my snek is nice and firm, his head. Put just a little bit more in there. Get it down in there so I'm not grabbing it when I... Okay, my snek's head is nice and tight. Now, what you do now is you just continue 12 single crochets all the way around for as long as you want your snake. Every few rows, just stuff a little bit. I'm going to do a few more rows and then I will be right back to show you how to manipulate it around. Okay, so right now I've got about a couple inches of my snek done. So I'm going to go ahead take some stuffing, not a lot. I'm just going to pop that down in there. Just go down. You want your snake to be squishy. You're basically just putting enough stuffing in to hold the shape. I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit more in. See, he's squishy. His head is not as squishy, but his body. I might pop that out. Okay, in about every 2 inches, you'll stop, put a little stuffing in. And like I said, not a lot. You just want enough for the body to hold its shape. Just like that. And I will be back again when I've got him a little bit longer. My snake is now measuring approximately 41 inches long. Usually I make my snakes a little longer, but this seems long enough. So now I am going to start decreasing so his tail becomes more narrow instead of just leaving it like a big old fat tail. So what I do, and this is going to be hard to do, getting him to turn. I'll do my 1. Two. Then I'm going to do a decrease. And this is what I'm going to do until the snake has 6 stitches left. I'm going to do 1 round with a decrease, just like I've just done. Then I'm going to do a round without any decreases, and then I'll do a round with 1 decrease, and then another round, and a round with 1 decrease, and another round. So it's decrease, no decrease, decrease, no decrease, and it's always 1 decrease until you get it down until there's 6 stitches left, and I will meet you then. Okay, so after I got down to my row of 6 stitches, I went ahead and did 3 more rows just so that it has a little bit of a more narrowing. I couldn't think of the word I wanted. Now, this is where we're just going to decrease. You can just fudge this up any way you want because it doesn't really matter at this point. We're just trying to get that closed up as much as we can. Still a little bit there, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can squeeze into a couple more stitches. I don't like the way that's bumping out, so I'm going to grab that. Do a little slip stitch there, and there we go. I'm going to go ahead and chop that yarn off. Pull it through, tighten it up. Grab my needle, thread it up, and I'm going to go right through the end of that. Stick it in, stick it out anywhere, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to make sure that my tail isn't pulled in, and then I'm going to go right back into the same place I just was. Go across there, like so. Back into the same stitch, and we'll just do like that. That's in there good enough, because you know it gets caught inside the stuffing inside. Pull it out a little bit, chop that off as close to the snake as possible. And then, as long as you have not stuffed it too much, there you go. He will sit there, he or she will coil up for you. And that, my friends, is the snek.